Oh, we had a really long review of the game on Monday, straight after the game, and that was really insightful. I think the general feeling on the post-game amongst the playing group, I think, was just one of shock. They were obviously devastated and quite depressed after the game, but they're really looking for answers. They really felt just totally shell-shocked out there, and I think we've got a clear way forward now. We've addressed everything that went horribly wrong, and the fact is we are quite a considerable way off where we hope we'd be at this point of the season. So we've had to really go back and reassess where we're at as a team, and we know we've got a lot of work to do, and we did want to be more competitive against sides like Collingwood, and clearly we haven't been able to do that to this point. So now we've got to reassess exactly where we sit at the moment.
So it's more than just sort of a one-week aberration. You take it as a real gauge of where you're able to play?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's the disappointing thing is, I mean, people after a horrible loss like that, people are going to say the effort was poor and all those sorts of things. But the reality is that we were really poor in fundamental areas of the game. So, and effort wasn't one of those. So that's the thing that we've got to go back and train really hard and work on some things that are going to make us a better side, because we are getting horribly exposed by the really good sides at the moment, and they're fundamental issues.
Does it make it harder because the Dogs are coming off a high? Really, they're the opposite to you.
No, it doesn't make it any harder. In fact, a lot of the things we need to work on are perfect to get a measure of against the Bulldogs, because they are so good offensively, and they do, if they're allowed to play their way, they're as devastating as any football side in the competition. So, I mean, form can fluctuate from time to time, but one thing that the Bulldogs have is some really, really good damaging players, and when Adam Cooney and Ryan Griffin and Boyd and Gian Siracusa and these guys are going through the midfield, they're they can be as damaging as any side in the competition. So we'll get a good gauge of how many lessons we've taken out of last week, and if we've improved at all on the things we've worked on throughout the week.
Do you plan a positive in any way, given that I guess against other sides those flaws might not be exposed to the extent they are, so you can learn exactly what you do?
Yeah, and look, as bitter a pill as it is to swallow, that's the truth. When you're playing a certain style that we are really confident in is going to be, if we can get it right, is going to be competitive against the best sides. We don't just try and paper over the cracks. We expose our players, and I make no apologies for that, because we've got a really firm view in the direction we're headed and where we want to be, in a few years' time. And, we're not going to take any shortcuts to get there. So that includes, against the good sides, exposing ourselves and taking them on, man for man. And, there are a lot of things we could do as coaches to stem the bleeding. But the question we have to answer is, well, is that really going to help us in the long term? And my firm belief is no. So, we'll continue to take the approach that we will coach a certain style of footy that's going to be successful in the long term. And right now we're not good enough to implement that, but we know we've got a lot of work to do, and we're really confident in the direction we're going.
What do you do with Lindsay Thomas?
Now, Lindsay will go back to the VFL this week. We've taken the attitude, again, I've taken the attitude that, we'll absolutely support Lindsay. I've been really impressed with the amount of work he's been doing on the track over and above our normal training. He's been exploring every avenue to get over the challenges he's got, but I've been impressed with the fact that he's met it head on. He hasn't shirked any issue. He clearly admits that he's got some real issues that he needs to deal with, and he's doing, we're doing everything in our power to address that. But we've got to the point now where I've had to make the decision that we're actually hurting Lindsay more by sending him out there to play, and he's also not helping the team out there. Some of his defensive work's fantastic, but he's out there, to be honest, to kick goals and to create goals for us. And he's just unable to do that at the moment. So we just want to free the shackles, send him back to the VFL, and really get him really enjoying his footy again. And we're absolutely confident that he'll turn it around.
So it's not so much. I think you've said it's not technique.
Oh no. No, it's far more of a mental issue than it is a technical issue.
What's his reaction been to going back to the VFL? Is that something he wanted to do, to take the pressure off a little bit?
No. It's not his decision. It's my decision. But look, he understands completely. But as I said, he hasn't shirked any issue. He hasn't tried to shy away from this. He's met it head on, and he completely understands. And he's going to embrace going back and playing VFL footy. And he's the thing about Lindsay. He loves his footy, and he wants to get back as soon as possible. But he knows he's got to sort this issue out and sort it out soon. And when he does, we'll welcome him back into the side.
Have you contemplated maybe in the midfield defence when you take that pressure off having to have?
No, we're not going to hide him in positions just to get a short-term cover up of what is a fundamental issue for him.
What are the major things, Brad, you've been working on at training this week?
Well, the Collingwood midfield really exposed. I mean, look, it was a wet day, but Collingwood was still able to kick a lot of goals, and every time we went forward, we turned the ball over, and the Collingwood midfield were able to get us on the turnover. So we weren't effective enough with our ball use forward, and then we got really killed on the turnover. So they're the two things we've really got to focus on, and that Collingwood side is just an outstanding football team. That's the other thing in this that I don't think we should forget. We got a really good lesson from clearly the best team in the competition right at this point. So we took a lot of lessons, not only from what we did poorly, but what they did really well.
How's Brent Harvey's thumb?
Yeah, well, it's got a small fracture in it, so we think he's probably going to be okay, but it's fair to say that he's in some doubt. So we'll name him on the side, and we'll give him every opportunity to prove his fitness, and provided he can get through and handle the ball okay and tackle and do all those things, then he's an extremely resilient player, and he's been able to play really well with injury in the past. So we'll give him every opportunity to prove his fitness.
You've spoken about Lindsay, but how do you approach the rest of selection after a week like that? Is it a balance between showing faith in the players that you've got and also making a statement on what last week wasn't good enough?
No, we just picked the best side that we think can go out and beat the Bulldogs this weekend. I mean, we're not going to, we're not into making statements. We're just, the players are reviewed daily, so they know exactly what's acceptable and what's not, and what individuals have to work on. What we do at selection is we pick the best side that we think can win the game. So, we're not going to drop players for the sake of it. We're going to pick the best side that we think is best acquitted to taking on the Dogs.
How's Hamish McIntosh tracking, Brad? Is he close to making a return?
Yeah, he's taking steps forward daily. Really, his game time's 100% in the VFL now, so he's it's just a matter of conditioning now for him. So I'd say once he gets through this week in the VFL, it'll be a matter of form. Whether he can force his way into the side, because it's not a fait accompli. I mean, I think a lot of sides are struggling with the question as to can they play two ruckmen, and that'll be a question we'll have to face as well. But Hamish is not available yet, but I'd say after this week or the next, he'll be right in the selection mix.
When you lashed out at the players, do you think they really get it? Did they get it during the week, do you think? Did they understand where they went wrong last weekend?
Well, I didn't lash out at them. I mean, the expression I used was I hit them right between the eyes, and that just simply means that they were taken to task over things that are absolutely unacceptable. So, they are extremely clear as to what went wrong, and not only what went wrong, but how we go about remedying that issue.
Rodney said today that he expects you to come out and make a stand because that's what they did after they were beaten by 100 points earlier on in the year. Is that something you've talked about this week?
No, it's the fabric of this football club. Those performances are not acceptable, from anyone ever involved with North Melbourne, and we're well aware of that. And I'm just absolutely livid that I've been a part of a loss like that, because that's not what this football club's about. So we don't even have to talk about what sort of stand we're going to make. It's expected at this club.
It's a separate issue. A player from a rival club this morning admitted he staged for a free kick, and it's ended up costing a bloke a suspension. Would you encourage, if you had a player that did that in your own club and the guy's been reported, would you encourage him to make an approach to, I suppose, a match review panel or to whoever assesses the video?
Yeah, I think that the match review panel now take more notice than ever of the opposing club medical report. So, I think that's what they really should focus on, and focus on the vision, focus on the medical report, and players probably make contact look a little bit more severe than than perhaps it was trying to get a free kick, and that's been happening for a long time. The AFL have tried to stamp that out. I don't think we've been too successful in doing it, but I think everyone agrees that, you know, it's unsavoury in AFL footy to stage for free kicks, because part of the appeal of AFL footy is that it's a brutal contest, you know, and you love competitors playing it, so you don't like, you know, people playing for free kicks or making contact appear more severe than it is.
Do you think the AFL have done enough when they said they're cracking down? They don't have to actually really take action against it?
Oh look, to be honest, I actually think this is a bit of a non-issue personally, so I'm probably not the best person to ask.
Fair enough.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay.